r/ask Reddit. What is something you enjoyed after previously believing you wouldn't like it? Lifting weights. The thought of having a gym membership and a routine and training sounded awful, and then I tried it and now I hate missing the gym. Cycling. Took it up to save money commuting. That was 14 years ago. Have saved thousands on commuting but spent thousands on my favorite hobby. The IRS says that driving a car 1 mile costs 56 cents on average. I've definitely spent quite a bit more than that on cycling stuff. If you average out the cost of my bikes, maintenance repairs, clothing and accessories, race entry fees, etc. But a bunch of my friends are into cars, like autocross or off-roading or just fixing up old cars. So I tell my wife I save a bunch of money because cycling is a lot cheaper than that. Yes, so my buddy Mike at work just got a new set of tires for his Miata for $500. I am so glad that my bike tires are only like $40 a pop. Oh, by the way, I ordered a new pair since the old ones were pretty worn down. And my chain is at 0.5 wear, so I snagged another one which put me over the threshold for free shipping. Mike said his ECU wasn't working and it cost $600 for a new one. Glad I don't have to worry about that. I'm into autocross and cycling. My wallet hates me. Getting clothes as presents. As a kid it made me extremely disappointed. As an adult I practically dance around with joy whenever I get new clothes. Audiobooks. I used to think I wouldn't absorb as much information by listening instead of reading, but it turns out it's pretty much the same, and being able to hear books when my eyes need to be occupied, for example, driving, has made it so I can get a lot more reading done. Audiobooks are the only way I can exercise or do boring tasks. People at the gym are always joking that exercise while listening to music is cheating, and I always answer that exercise without listening to a good audiobook is really bad time management. See, I'm weird. Unless I'm doing cardio I can't for the life of me try and listen to a book or podcast or even the news while I lift weights. If I don't have music I don't feel motivated. In my case I simply don't retain the information while I'm lifting. It's like I didn't hear anything at all and I have to go back time and time again. Yard work. I hated doing my aunt's yard work and raking leaves at my mom's house when I was a kid. I always had someone breathing down my neck, telling me exactly how to do it, and it always messed up my hands. I think I have allergies or something. Anyway, as an adult, I got a few pots and planted tomatoes on my patio. Seeing food grow was addicting. Then I got a house and a lawnmower, and realized that mowing the lawn is actually relaxing. And I got a few patches of dirt where I can grow flowers, whichever ones I want, which I love. Best of all, I can do it all at my own pace, and I have gardening gloves to protect my hands. Hummus. Ducking love hummus now. Before I tried it I thought it looked and smelled like shit. You need to try roasted red pepper hummus. It's to die for. I misread this as humans. Pho. I have a big appetite and always assumed that some sorta hot soup wouldn't hit the spot. God, was I wrong. I didn't realize how much goodness was hiding under the broth. For real, that shit is great. Damn, are you gonna be surprised when you try other kinds of Asian noodle soups? Try bun bo hue if you like spicy foods. I'm with you. I started on pho and someone suggested bun bo hue since I like spicy. It was so good. Hiking. Hiking is one of those things for me that I always think I like it and readily agree to go with my friends, then hate it the entire time. Rinse, repeat every year. It's just cause I'm out of shape though, lol. Do it by yourself, at your own pace. It can be very relaxing, especially a solo trip for a few hours. Camping? I hate camping, but hiking is awesome. Pistachio ice cream. Swore up and down I hated pistachios. Turns out they are the best thing ever, and the ice cream is delicious. Never really had a thing for pistachios until I tried pistachio ice cream. It's surprisingly good, so I definitely agree. The job I have now as a caregiver. I really thought I wouldn't like it, but I can't imagine doing anything different. Nice username. Beach. You can run but you can't hide. Beach. Yo. Gatorade ME. Beach. Heat and eat. Beach. Telling people no. I never would have expected so many to agree. I guess that's part of the process. Anyway, it has definitely helped me to develop better life habits. Yes. Vegetables. Turns out my parents don't really like vegetables and didn't go to any great lengths to make them when I was a kid. If veggies didn't come from a can or a frozen bag, we didn't eat them. Once I got my own apartment, I decided to get better at cooking. So I bought fresh vegetables and oven roasted them with olive oil and salt. Turns out they are delicious that way. We always grew up with fresh or frozen veggies. The only canned ones were beets, which I still love canned, but my mom used to cook them to absolute death. I think it's generational. For the longest time I didn't think I liked vegetables until I realized that they didn't have to be mush. Yoga and meditation. I thought it was pretty strange and woo-woo. My friend pushed me to get a month trial with her and I fell in love with how relaxed it made me. I wish I started as a teen. Could have helped even me out a lot sooner. I remember when Left 4 Dead came out, and a buddy brought it over. We were in a Halo 3 or Smash Bros Brawl hype phase, so I was like, that game looks dumb. Why are we playing this? By the time we finished No Mercy, I didn't want to stop. Years later, and I still boot up L4D2. Man, I love Valve. I used to have a shitty computer that could barely play Minesweeper, but that game was so amazingly optimized. I had the Valve Complete Pack. I just couldn't run any of the games except a few of the lower end Half-Life XMEs. It's been years and I haven't been able to play much recently, but back then that game was my shit. That's one of the great things about the Source engine. It sure isn't perfect, but it can run on a potato. Poutine. Gravy and cheese curds on french fries just sounded disgusting to me, but my wife ordered some at a bar and practically force-fed me a bite, and it was amazing. There is a poutinery near my house. Anything you can imagine they will mix in with your base gravy plus curds plus poutine sauce and fries. I still love the classic, but having one with really nice steak strips and mushrooms mixed in is pretty cooler. The term poutinery just made me crack up. I've never heard this before today, and I'm from Quebec, land of poutine. I'm calling these fine establishments this from now on. Makes it sound so fancy. It's potatoes and gravy. How could you think that goes wrong? I don't know. I think maybe it's the word curds, just not an appetizing word. A Reuben sandwich. Reuben sandwiches are weird. Not a big fan of Swiss cheese. I really don't like sauerkraut. I don't like Thousand Island. I absolutely hate rye. Yet somehow the Reuben just works and I like the sandwich despite only liking one of the 5 ingredients. I started reading this like a poem, then I realized it was not a poem about Reuben sandwiches and just a list. Breaking Bad. First time I tried watching it, I found it slow and couldn't commit. Second time I managed to overcome the slowness of the first episodes and binge the whole 5 seasons. One Punch Man. Thought the premise was lame, but I really like it. Not to mention the art is ducking fantastic. Grade A job even if you don't like the story. BoJack Horseman. At first, I thought it would be an average slice of life adult cartoon with funny animals. What I got when I tried it is one of the most emotional and gripping cartoons with characters so relatable that I forget that their names is Mr. Peanut Butter and is a yellow lab, or a drunk horse in his 50s. I was right about the funny animals though. So true. I did not expect the levels of realness that were brought when I started watching this show. The Harry Potter books. Long story short, I've dealt with some really stupid gatekeeper fans that turned me off to the whole thing for a long time. I finally read the first book this summer and really enjoyed it, despite thinking it was going to either be too immature or packed with terrible tropes. I was the right age when those books were being written, but my dad was one of those parents who didn't want me to read them until I was old enough to tell fantasy from reality. By the time I was older, I just couldn't bring myself to care. However, my mother-in-law gave me her copy of the first book when she learned I hadn't read them, and it sat in my bookcase for over a year. Finally, I was taking a class called History of the English Language in college, and we had to choose a book off a list the professor provided to write several papers on throughout the course, and the first HP book was on the list. The papers were about dialect, the effect of education level on individual speech, and other things of that nature, so I figured I'd finally read it since I already had a copy. I'm now a little obsessed with that world. Running, jogging. Nothing gives me an adrenaline rush or a sense of accomplishment like it. Zombies Run helps a lot too. I'm on season 2 right now and want to do the virtual run. I'm also hoping to do a 5k soon. My goal is a marathon one day. As an asthmatic and unable to walk properly for a long time, I never thought I could do what I can do now with my legs. I hate running. I've tried it and it's just awful. I get shin splints. My IT band hurts. Blah blah blah. But this time, when I went to buy shoes, I told the lady about the shin splints and she said, they happen because of bad form. Take smaller strides. Stay over your feet. Lean forward from the ankles. And aim for a mid-foot strike. I've gotten to running almost 2 miles at a shot. And then walk for another 2 miles. I'm starting to actually enjoy it. I'm going to try for a 5k in a couple months. Rick and Morty. I refused to watch it up until recently because of the cringy fan base, but I was pleasantly delighted. Yay, this was me too. I was bored with everything I was watching and usually don't like animation type shows. Plus the stereotypical fan stuff and memes you see on Reddit. But gave it a go. I watched all 3 seasons in under a couple weeks. One of my favorite shows now. Playing Magic the Gathering. I'd like to think that most stereotypical nerd games are really fun if you give them a chance. Let the financial downward spiral begin. Taking walks. As a kid I was too sickly to go outside. And too allergic to the world. I'm still sickly but getting better finally. I really enjoy a walk when the air is below 60°F. I like it cold enough to make my face feel numb. Because then when you work yourself up going up a steep hill or whatever, you warm up naturally. Coffee. As a child I tried and hated it. At the age of 16 I had an urge to try it again. And I love it. Never stopped drinking it since. I tried it and hated it. Then at 21 my friends bought large iced coffees so we could drink all night. I woke up at 3 AM nauseated from the drinking. And the shits from the coffee. I thought I was going to die on the toilet with a trash can in my arms. I didn't know coffee made you poop. I vowed never again. Reading history. I never really cared for learning anything in history as a kid, but as I got older I find it fascinating to read up on the past and see how the pieces played out to a certain event. Playing D&D. I'm gonna need you to roll a d20. Don't ask why. No good ever comes out of this. DM laughs for no discernible reason. I got back into reading. High school and college really drained my desire to read, but when I started up again, reading for pleasure and not for a test, I found out it's my new favorite hobby, and inexpensive. Mandatory reading of non-fun things really killed my desire to read as well. Had to take a test for licensing, and devoting that much time to reading what pretty much was a dictionary killed off any motivation for the fiction I had been burning through up to that point. Just starting to get back into it. Mochi ice cream. Fried pickles. Reading fiction. Used to think that reading imaginary stuff was a waste of time. My lit-degreed wife changed my mind by having me read To Kill a Mockingbird. So good. Brooklyn 99. The first episode I saw was just kind of forced and formulaic. 3 years later, my wife and I came back and watched the whole series front to back, and it's a great ensemble comedy. At school I really hated coding, and teacher didn't help. Her way of teaching us old programming language drove most of us away from coding. Then after school I got to study in college and try my hand at it again, and since then I code on my free time. Happily. The Good Place. It's the forking shirt. Punk rock concerts or any variation of hard rock. Got asked to go to a Beartooth concert only having evidence of their songs on Spotify. Went and had the time of my life, even though I am normally not even into concerts in general. PUBG. I don't like slow-paced military shooters. I was into arena shooters, especially UT99, which I still play from time to time, and I was reluctant for a few months to try it. But man, this game has a unique atmosphere. Every match is a great build-up phase, shaping it like a thriller or horror game even, and everything is culminating in a heroic or ridiculously stupid final moment. When you die, 99% of the time, or win, for me, less than 1% of the time, and it's amazing. Too bad there are still fundamental problems with the gameplay. Marriage. Beer. When I was 14 I stole a Budweiser from my dad's mini fridge in the garage and I thought beer was awful and I would never like it. It wasn't until I got to college and started trying different beers that I began to appreciate how awesome it can be. Now, I love beer and trying out new ones whenever I can. Cats. For years and years I loathed cats, thinking all of them were selfish prudes, quick to hurt you with their claws. Also I was biased as a dog person. Got my mother a kitten one Christmas and all of those thoughts were dispelled. It was practically a puppy, but it did its business in a box. As long as you raise them with care, they're the sweetest, most gentle lap burglars ever. Obnoxious sometimes. Rowladen. I thought I hated all German food but it turns out my Oma was just a horrible cook. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content bruh. It's free and that's a great price.